It was a quiet morning in a small town in Oregon. The air smelled like fresh rain, and the sky was still gray. Sarah stood by the window of her tiny apartment, holding a warm cup of coffee. Her fingers were cold, even though it was August. She wrapped her sweater tighter around her shoulders and looked out at the street below. Sarah was 29 years old, with soft brown eyes and hair that was always in a ponytail. She worked as a waitress at a local diner called Jenny's Place. She didn't have many friends, and her family lived far away in Texas. Most days, she walked to work, served customers, and came home to her quiet apartment. But she always felt something was missing, something beautiful, something special. One evening after a long shift, Sarah walked home slowly. Her feet hurt, and her back ached. The streets were almost empty, and the streetlights gave off a soft orange glow. As she passed an old bookstore that had been closed for years, she saw something strange. A soft light was coming from inside. Curious, she stepped closer. The door was slightly open. "Hello?" she called softly. No answer. She pushed the door open slowly. It creaked. Inside, the air smelled like old paper and wood. Shelves were full of dusty books. But right in the center of the room was a small table with a single glass case on top. Inside the case was a flower. Not just any flower, a crystal flower. It sparkled like ice in the light. The petals looked like they were made of diamonds, and the stem was a soft green glass. It was the most beautiful thing Sarah had ever seen. As she stared, a voice came from the shadows. "Do you like it?" the voice asked. Sarah jumped. An old woman stepped out from behind a bookshelf. Her hair was silver, and her eyes were sharp but kind. Yes, Sarah said. "It's beautiful." The woman nodded. "It's called the crystal flower. It only shows itself to those with a quiet heart." "A quiet heart?" Sarah asked. The woman smiled. "A heart that has been hurt. A heart that still hopes. That still loves." Sarah looked down. Her eyes felt warm. "That sounds like me." The old woman stepped closer. "Would you like to hold it?" Sarah hesitated. "Is that allowed?" "Of course," the woman said, "but only for a moment. The flower is not meant to be kept." Sarah lifted the glass case gently. The flower was cold but soft in her hands. As she touched it, a feeling filled her chest. Warmth. Peace. Sadness too, but not heavy. A kind of sadness that felt honest, like a song. "Why does it feel like this?" she whispered. "Because the flower shows you your true self," the woman said. "All your memories, all your pain, but also all your strength. Tears filled Sarah's eyes. She thought about her past, about her father who left when she was young, about her mother who worked 2 jobs, about the time she failed college, about the time her best friend moved away without saying goodbye. But she also remembered other things. The time she helped a lost dog find its home, the time she paid for a stranger's coffee, the time she sang alone in her room and felt free. "I never thought I was strong," Sarah said. The woman nodded. "Most strong people don't." Sarah smiled for the first time in days. "Thank you for letting me see this." The woman touched her shoulder. "Now go, and take this feeling with you. Let it change your life." Sarah walked home that night with a light in her eyes. She didn't have the flower, but she carried something even more powerful: belief in herself. The next morning, she went to work as usual. But something had changed. She smiled more. She listened closely when people talked. She helped a little boy clean up his spilled juice without getting angry. And when her boss asked her to work an extra shift, she said yes, but she also asked for a day off next week to rest. Something she never did before. Weeks passed. Then months. Sarah started drawing again, something she had stopped doing years ago. She joined a local art group. She met people. She made friends, real friends. One evening, she told her story. The crystal flower, the old woman, the quiet bookstore, to her new friends. "Did that really happen?" one of them asked. Sarah smiled. "I don't know. Maybe it was a dream. Maybe it was magic. But it changed me." Years later, Sarah opened her own art shop. She named it The Crystal Flower. On the wall near the door, there was a small glass case with a sculpture inside. It looked like a flower made of crystal. People would come in, look at the sculpture, and ask, "What's the story behind that?" Sarah always said, "It's a story about seeing your own light, even in the dark. It's about knowing that even if your heart is quiet, it is still full of love and strength." And sometimes, just sometimes, someone would look at the flower and start to cry. And Sarah would know. Their heart had seen it too. Vocabulary list. First, ache, a slow, steady pain. Second, curious, wanting to know or learn something. Third, whisper, to speak very softly. Fourth, hesitate, to pause before doing something, often because of fear or doubt. Fifth, strength, the quality of being strong, not just in body, but in heart or mind. Sixth, memories, things you remember from the past. Seventh, belief, a strong feeling that something is true. Eighth, sculpture, A piece of art made by shaping stone, metal, or other materials. 9th, shift. The time during which a person works.
10th, quiet heart. A heart that feels sadness or peace deeply, often silently.